We are still on the process perspective and the intent behind the processes, the conscious planned intent of at the human level of reason and logic, intents without any reason and logic, driven by various emotions and perceptions and other relevant mindsets, then non-consciously operated intents, then we touched even the mysterious levels of intent, referring to the supreme human being by name Patanjali. I hope you will be trying at least one of the samyamas. I mean, you are able to drive your intent to get the sanyama on your navel center, the placental orifice of the body, which every one of you should ideally try. It is very easy to access, and at your sleep time, as you go to sleep, just leave your attention, the trail of your attention to the navel button center and just below that. Because as it was suggested by Patanjali, of course it is not my idea, you will gradually get a definite and clear awareness about your own body processes, and through that you will get a feel of the basic anatomy and physiology in its operating level in other human beings also. I said in its operation level, in its process level, not necessarily the names and the details and the anatomical structure, etc., but you would get a definite feel. I guarantee that because I got it. I have got it maybe some 10, 20, 30 years back. So please try that, because an awareness about the body, one's own physiological world is very critical. Especially because of the highly polluted world today. Pollution and all is, I would say, a wrong campaign, but much more dangerous things are the so-called vegetables and other eatable items. Almost every millet, every grain, everything is now corporate controlled products, and they are all masked and kept in situations under chemical control. So nobody would talk about that. So that there are multiple benefits. One is guaranteed sales and income. Second is guaranteed scope of illnesses for people. No doubt about that. So I want every genius himself to be free from any illnesses of the deeper level. Peripheral things of fever, cough, and a little bit of stomach problem and all can happen, but they should be impeccably integrated. Your immunity should be impeccable so that it lasts forever till the day of your final meeting. So this focusing your, let us say, forget about sanyama and all that, at least a conscious awareness, like a torch beam sent to the navel center and the below area, that area, without any unnecessary calculations at all. That's a free flow of your attention to that area. Then you will feel certain things there and maintain that, sustain that. That's called samadhi. That means sustain that awareness of the abdominal inner universe. Keep that intent every time operating till you get a complete feel of your body. That alone will indirectly tell you what to do, what not to do, when to do, how to do, and what to eat, and when to eat, and how to eat, and so on and so forth. Like a cat, you will know what exactly you should eat. Or if at all you happen to eat something wrong, you will know at what stage it should be compulsorily stopped, whatsoever be the attractions. So these are all critical things also, because body is the operating terrain. Body carries your consciousness, body carries your intellect, body carries your mental processes, body carries your attendant spirit. And of course, body is 100% a product and process of the vast, beautiful, mysterious, magical nature process. Like the body of a bird is taken care of by the nature process, your body also should be under the kind of a monitoring linkage with the intent of the nature process. Okay? That's all. Now anyway, today our topic is again intent, but with a kind of a case study, with an affair. Because intent is the critical thing, because we have decided 2-3 sessions back that the entire universe is nothing but a process, entire planet is nothing but a process, every inch, every millisecond, every subatomic particle is in process, and huge processes are obviously processes, and above all, every single item created by a human genius, every single item by which humanity takes a lot of arrogant pride is nothing but completely made with the help of, and works by a nature process only. From a safety pin, the natural tension of that material, from a safety pin to the most advanced, smartphone. Okay, from a pencil tip to the most advanced satellites. They are all integral part of the nature process, made out of parts of nature process, made with the help of nature process, and functioning by nature process. And of course, in an ultimate sense, identified the original nature process working in the cerebral cortex of some human beings. Okay? And operated by the nature process of the hands and the eyes and the sense organs of the human nature process. Okay, everything is nature process. Okay, pulling the trigger or turning the steering or pressing the buttons of a smartphone, all nature process operating in the human body. Alright? So perfect circle with a central point of your identity consciousness. That's all. Just that identity consciousness, I am that I, which you are aware of. Around that, this entire 360-degree reverse flow of nature process is going on. Coming back, okay. Intent. So today I have mentioned intent of the Rabbi with another purpose. Perhaps this will be the last one on process related direct discussion in our GAS sessions. So I thought of touching with intent at a different level, combining your consciousness and combining your genius. Rabbi is kind of mystics in the country Israel. And recently, for the last few hours, Israel is in the news. Again, Hamas or whoever in the Gaza Strip is attacking Israel. Already 5,000 rockets are reportedly delivered. One person died and 100 people injured. Many portions. Anyway, that nomadic instinct of so-called leaders are operating with the support of technologies, that's all. Leaders are still the primitive nomadic only, but with the sophisticated dress and traveling by whatever. Anyway, the humanity has nothing to do with this war, okay? It's the business of the national leaders and the soldiers, and maybe corporates also. We are nobody to discuss all these things, at least I am nobody, but came to awareness because of the coincidence of this Rabbi intent. In fact, this Rabbi, the name of that Rabbi was Israel. I'm talking a parable rather known in Israel,
Okay.
the country Israel.
Uh-huh.
Somebody who told me this, he said a good majority of people in Israel knows this parable and they tell this parable to their children also, very likely, because Israelis are very firebrand, highly inspired, creative, original people. So, intent of the Rabbi. So, get ready to listen to the words and the concepts and the referred realities of those words, which I am going to present before you. I don't remember the name of this parable. Like other parables of the sun, we know the names. Anyway, I remind you, we don't have, though we use the words like parable and stories and etc., for a genius, everything is real or everything is unreal. Okay? Alright. This is a fundamental question, but in our practical life there are other things which we will choose and decide and act upon by the intent and by the creative analytical perception we are capable of. Coming back to the point of the FIR, Vinay and Vivek. So for Vivek, I remind you, everything should be an FIR, okay? Even the dialogue of your friend should be considered as an FIR. So get trained from 360-degree angles to become
Yes, sir, yes.
become the greatest, one of the greatest lawyers of India. And your name also is very suitable, Vivek. It is definitely possible with the ideas we discussed in the training program. No doubt it is definitely possible. If there is another human being who could be the number one or whatever in India, why can't it be you? That's what I thought when in the last class of our three-year degree program in Union Christian College, Alway, way back in 1969, in the last class the principal came and told that Sundararajan, you are the stupidest guy in this college, just don't appear for the regular exam as a college student, appear as a private student sometime in the so-called September exam. 47 days were remaining. So, with that intent of the Rabbi kind, which I am telling you now, not that I consciously, these are retrospective account. That's also an important point. In retrospective account, we will be giving names and definitions of Vinay and Naveen, Arjun, Ganesh, Parvati. The problem, That's why you should not go exactly by the words of the Buddha or Krishna or Jesus or anybody. Because they are that by virtue of some other intents. But when they talk about it, they may have to present it in such a language as if they were planning a lot of things, etc. So, it is like the original singer did not learn music by practicing Sarigama Padanisa. Okay? It is for the subsequent learners. So, when someone who has done something, when gives a retrospective account of what he or she has done, it is very likely that there will be names and descriptions and definitions in order to clarify, get the point. So, be aware of that. So, I said this in the context of my having kind of an intent, which is somewhat like the intent of the Rabbi, which I am going to tell you. So, by that, when the results were out, I was first class, first rank in the whole university. So, I have a history in Union Christian College, Alvin. So, that's the kind of intent which I want every one of you to have. So, when you understand intent, you will also know that it cannot be just like that applied by reasonable will. Like, let me have the intent of a cup of tea. It will require certain linkage configurations where you are forced to do that other than No, when no other choice exists, really. When no other choice exists. So, the intent of the Rabbi. So, Rabbi is the Israeli term, or I don't know what is that original language. I think all of you are familiar with that word, Rabbi, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I used to,
Yes.
when I first read this parable some 30 years back, I used the word because I read English like, the local, I used to say Rabbi. Then somebody was aware, he said, then he only conveyed or clarifications about it, and he said it is to be pronounced Rabbi. And he only told me that even possibly the country, or that part of the country got the name Israel on behalf of this Rabbi Israel only. Like India is supposed to have got its name from the mystic Rishi of Bharata, something like that. Anyway, I was preparing the background. Beyond affair, there is always a background, right, Vivek? Affair cannot contain all the background, am I right? Yeah. Reading the affair, you should get a
Yes.
feel of the background. That is the kind of reading
Yes.
required. So, so Rabbi Israel, their dress would look like a huge gown with often some covering on the head also. Am I right? Somewhat, right? All right. So Rabbi Israel was one of the top mystics in the country, and he used to go around from one place to the other once in a while for the convenience of the people to meet him. Obviously, at that time, that was the only way because people just cannot travel all the long distances without. And there was no roads and bus service and taxi service and all that at that point of time in the history. That's why they used to travel around. So create a form of rabbi very unlikely to be a so-called handsome, clean-shaven face and all that. See him the way you want to define him. If you want to draw a picture, a painting, a watercolor painting of the rabbi, with all your freedom of imagination, do it in the canvas of your mind, because he is the hero. See him standing on some kind of a higher, little tall rock or some space, and similar kind of dressed ancient kind of people surrounded. You can see that. That is called visualization. Vision. Imagination is blind, it is conceptual. Going with the girlfriend to Manali, Darjeeling, Sikkim and all that, talking to her, kissing her or whatever, they are all imaginations, which is very easily accessible for a great majority. Visualization is seeing the visuals. You see you going with her, holding her hands. You can see her hands in your palm. walking through a path and seeing the mountains and the mist and the forest distances. That is called visualization. It is definitely possible with everyone, like a dream is possible with everyone. And so-called film directors and dance directors are all masters in that. Any film is nothing but the work of the visualization of the director with the assistance of the cameraman. A little bit. When you see classic films, you must have an eye to see the wonder of the visualization capacity of the director. Because the scenes that you see on the TV screen did not exist like that. It was completely the creation. Creation meaning, and the configuration, if it is an existing set of buildings and trees and all that, he directs the angle, the way, the perspective to look at it. Then varied incidents and episodes in the film. They are all seen by him. In fact, I have observed Adur Gopalakrishnan, one of the genius film directors of Kerala State. He was so, systematic. He would himself draw pictures for every scene, Vivek, and post it on the walls. Normally it is done, it is called a storyboard also. Meticulously, in his case. To such an extent that I thought he is not that creative. Because he wanted to have everything verified and changed, edited first, Unlike many other directors who never had such things. But still there was a so-called storyboard and shooting script and all that. Shooting script will give the details of what all things are there, in which way they are there, etc. But anyway, they are all capable of visualization. If they are capable, why not every one of us develop that? We don't need it. That's why we don't develop it. You are all trained to develop whatever is required by the syllabus of existence. You should be a lawyer, you should be a doctor, you should be an engineer, you should be this, you should be that, you must study this, you must not study this, kind of things are already there. But I am sure almost every one of you has violated all those centricity, conformity mindsets and pursued your own path of knowledge. Very good. Coming back, so design the scene of the shot where the Rabbi Israel is standing before a wonderful audience, absolutely silent audience, looking at Rabbi Israel with all the wonders and respect and worshipfulness in their eyes, eagerly waiting for every word that would come out of him. You must see some of their faces also. I've seen a film.
It's 22 hours.
And you must focus at least, you must see at least one woman's face. It is important. The way you have visualized the appearance, the form, F-O-R-M, form of the Rabbi. Only form is visible after all, okay? You cannot see the anatomy and the physiology. You cannot see even the naked body. You see only face and then the dress. And even if you see the naked body, it is only the form. Not the content, nor the process, nor the state. Only forms are always visible. It is good. So the job is easy. If you have to visualize the inner content and the process and all that, it will be very tough. So form is very familiar. So see the form of a middle-aged female also standing there. It's very important. That female is very important. In fact, she is the heroine of the parable, of the affair. Actually, the affair is all about her only. Rabbi Israel is only one of the components, Parvati, where the mental process of, or the existential process of this lady is sort of processed. So Rabbi concluded his, not sermons, his presentation or his ideas or maybe his sermons also. Whatever they said were sermons. Cannot be easily deleted and edited. Somewhat like a good majority of sentences I make here. In the flow of the ideas. All of you make that, I said, in the flow of the ideas consistently for a long time. You must also get trained like that. Especially Vivek. Because almost I would say 99% of the lawyer's work is how to design a delivery of language in the court. Right? Yeah. The so-called Satyameva Jayanti depends upon the capacity of your analytical observation and analytical thinking and very powerful delivery of what you think to the audience, especially the judge, and the opposite to whatever. A great lot of lawyers are not capable of that level. That's why they're all just a majority. By FIR and the police investigation and discussions and all that, somehow they manage the case. So this case of this lady, I hope all of you are able to see her. Almost middle age. Almost people were all waiting for Rabbi Israel to leave so that they can leave. When she sensed time, she solemnly walked towards Rabbi Israel. I use the word solemnly walk. Solemn, S-O-L-E-M-N, is a very unique word. The concept is very complicated. Every one of you is capable of that, but to define it is very difficult. By the Christian tradition, marriages are solemnized. That particular word is always used. So that lady is walking solemnly towards Rabbi Israel. As I see it, it is a slightly hilly area. It is not a plain ground. It's a slight inclination. At least about 15-degree inclination is there. There should be an inclination downwards of the audience. Unlike the modern stupid Western classrooms where the students are sitting above the position of the teacher. That's a Western mechanical worldview. Because they charge a lot of fee from the students or they want to recognize the identity of the students or for whatever reasons, students are sitting above the teachers. That is the culture of the West and India also is adopting that. I don't know about universities and even IITs I have been to. I don't know about most of the other classrooms. Anyway, classrooms in almost all management institutes are like that. Anyway, and they are all looking down upon the teacher. Okay. And mechanical world just does not understand all these things, Why the culture of the world has gone so pathetically down. Culture meaning corporate culture. The administrative culture. I mean the climate of the offices of the corporations and the government institutions and other institutions are all just dry, dull and lifeless. Because people have lost that gratitude for the Guru, for the teacher, from whom the knowledge is to penetrate down. Only then only it is flow, F-L-O-W, flow. That is the process of the nature. Every classroom that is designed like this is against, it's a violation of nature process. No problem. Only mechanical knowledge is delivered, okay? Rarely somebody original and genius and creative comes out of the classrooms in the universities and this kind of institutions. Maybe mechanical people will be there. It's a co-creation, collective working and working out electronics and mechanical engines and robots and electronics. That they can do, again with the support of the machines. There won't be any life. The romance of life is not there. The beauty and mystery of life is missing now all over the world, especially among the educated class. Coming back, the lady is walking solemnly towards the Rabbi and stood before him and bowed her entire body. That means what? She has something to tell him, right? She has something to tell him or she has something to ask him. Come on. Or something to offer him. Telling, asking, offering, which one?
Asking.
Yeah. Yeah, asking, yes, of course. Asking not for knowledge, asking not for any guidance, asking not for any suggestions or clues or solutions. Okay, in a way, solution related thing only. Her asking a question had a little bit of a background also, which she told him. Like most of the questions should be having a background also mentioned. Unlike in
to notice something.
Unlike in the university exams. Yes, Parvati?
She may want to bring to notice something.
Oh, yeah. What she might have noticed when she went?
Something she wanted him to notice, bring his attention to.
Yeah, that's okay. What is that something? That's my question. What could be that something?
Maybe some impending danger, being a rabbi in this dire situation, impending danger.
And not clear.
Some impending danger, being the kind of audience they are.
No, what are you talking now? You said she was looking at something which you are talking about that something.
The lady, you said lady went, was she asking, telling, or
Offering.
you asked that? Offering, yeah. So I'm saying she's trying to bring his attention to something.
Okay. So, alright. So no idea about what that something is. Alright. No, that was a good thinking, but here it was just a bowing down, conventionally done to a mystic, to a seer, to a rabbi, to a master. But when she does that, of course, it is not a normal doing. She must have seen his legs, the ground, even the she standing there. That's the possibility. Anyway, none of this was there, I just said that. But when you do that, try to have that kind of a samyamic attention on your doing and the entire surroundings. Alright, she submitted this in very gentle voice. Of course, Rabbi looked at her and she said, I have been married for the last 15 years, Rabbi, beloved Rabbi, but I am not blessed with a child. You are the greatest Rabbi of this land. Please bless me so that I can have a child. And she again bowed. Rabbi just moved one step forward. Looking into the eyes of the apparently distressed woman, now being more expressing her distress as an evidence of her depressive condition, of not fulfilling the purpose of existence of a female. I have realized that most men do not understand this fact because they get simply awed by the fact of they having a son or daughter. And they continue to enjoy that. But the fact is that the woman, the female, had her purpose fulfilled by that. Which the man, the so-called father, may have to travel another 5 decades to reach that level of accomplishment, if at all accomplished. So only a female can really know and feel, because she is the being inside which another human being is formed. In its content and processes. So, even in the most advanced, so-called advanced world of today, even now, a great percentage of females do believe that their identity, their existential identity is fulfilled by having a child only. So Rabbi, being a mystic, being a seer, he could see every moment of her depression. He could experience the tragic tale of her 15 years or 14 years of life. When every other female of her age was delivering a baby, especially at that time at least once in 2 years, what could be her degree and level of distress? Actually, gently touching her shoulder, Rabbi smiled. And he made a gesture with his hand that so that everybody else around should leave the place. Then he just walked a little forward, as you see in a film, and the female followed. Then at a certain spot he stopped and turned towards her and told her, "My beloved daughter, please listen to my own story." And she was all the more puzzled and wondered and looked at him with all her eyes. He told her, "My mother also, like you, was feeling distressed because of not having a child, not for 15 years, but for almost 18, 19 years. Okay. My mother also, like you, visited esteemed or blessed rabbis, thinking that they would get a child as a divine gift from the blessings of the rabbi. She had already done all those things. And according to what some of the rabbis suggested, she did all kinds of penances, all kinds of whatever offerings to the temples and deities and gods and feeding poor people and giving everything, etc., etc., etc. And finally she was left with nothing, just a hut and her husband. And one day she resigned. In our language, she dropped the girl of having a child completely. Because she got convinced about the truth of her body condition, that she just cannot have a child. Rabbi's blessings may not work. Or she had already met almost all the rabbis in the country, 18 years, my dear. Rabbi Israel was telling all this to a lady, okay? You see that, right? Yeah. One day she decided to go for a pilgrimage to a distant mosque or mountain. And she and her husband started their journey early morning, carrying their knapsack of whatever bread and little clothes, just hatching their hut. They left. Within a short while, they travelled a distance through new paths. Then they saw, to their surprise, a group of people standing around somebody, and still further they could identify that it was a rabbi. Do you follow what I am telling? Yeah. My mother and father, they were going for a pilgrimage. On the way, they met a group of people around a rabbi. And my mother, by that time, it became a kind of a habit for her. Whenever she sees a rabbi, she would automatically be attracted to that location, to that group, and listen to him. Even if she had heard him or met him several times before. But reaching there, she was absolutely shocked. Can you say why? She was surprised. Okay, she was surprised. What could be the possible reason? Hmm. Are you listening, Mandra?
He was the chief rabbi of the land.
Okay, that is one possible reason. Okay. But why the surprise? Oh, because the chief was there. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Then any other possible probable reason?
Maybe the rabbi was too young.
Two, three.
Can rabbi be female?
All right. Good. Four. Just let us get response.
That rabbi was not a rabbi.
The rabbi was not a.
A rabbi. It was another lady or a man, but not a cleric of the Jewish, the religious. Jewish
Why do you
religious
say so?
order.
Why do you say so? Because rabbis often had a unique dressing pattern. Oh, I see. Okay. Despite that, she could realize. Okay. By
Maybe
the
woman might have been blind.
No. You're right. No. The form of the rabbi was there, but the person inside, she realized that it was not a rabbi, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Then what he could be then? If he was not a rabbi, what else he could be?
He could have been another older woman.
Then what other possibility?
Could have been a religious person of a different faith itself.
It was a simple reason, let us say so. I may give a clue. A relatively simple reason than all this. If you remember the data already delivered by me, you can get a clue. That's why we should be listening every sentence of the FIR.
Maybe that person was one of the neighbors or somebody she knew.
Okay, yeah, these are all different responses. Good. Okay, what are the neighbors? That's also very beautiful because they could be surprised. Oh, this neighbor was a rabbi. Yeah, all right. Okay, yes. Good. That was a moment of surprise. Yes. Somebody else also could be a moment of surprise. Yeah. From the data I have already told. Do you remember anything that can be a clue?
Data is she has met many rabbis in the past. She has.
Yeah, that contains the clue. Okay, good point. That contains the clue for her surprise. Alright, time is running out. Yeah, that was the clue. She was surprised that how she missed him. How she missed seeing him. Because according to her, she had seen almost all the rabbis, and considering the audience there and the status, the expression of the rabbi made her quickly feel like that. Oh my God, I had never seen this Rabbi before. Then she walked a little more closer to the audience and eagerly waited for his words. Listening to him, I think her sanyama got operated, I suppose. That was the kind of completeness of her listening. That was the kind of mental impression she happened to have by the presence, the expressions and the responses and the form of that Rabbi. Mostly in the form, only form is visible. Of course, that form includes the expressions in the eyes, the general expressions revealed by the magnificent face of human being. Then the stature of the body, the posture, and so on and so forth, and then the sound. And of course, then the words, language. Listening to him with that gravitational force of her attention, falling deep down to whatever she observed, a firm conviction dawned upon her that if this Rabbi blesses me, I will definitely have a child. This is the true Rabbi with the so-called divine power of intent. Now, we are all talking about intents, mind you, the intent of the God, intent of the deity. Every prayer is to invoke the intent of the deity or the God or the goddess so that I am be blessed, or let my worries and problems be over, or let my life be peaceful, or let my purpose in life be fulfilled, and so on and so forth. We are all asking for the intent of the so-called power, okay? Understand? Yes. Now if you do that again, have your attention reaching the level of that intent, not to invoke or not to induce or not to create an intent in the field of the agency to whom you are addressing your prayers. Then it has to work, or then only it will work. And then it will work. Because without an intent, a process is not possible, and a process is possible only with an intent. Whatsoever be that intent, whether it is invisible, intangible, incomprehensible, etc. And the Rabbi stopped his sermons. It came to an end. Rabbi walked away, and she stood there. Every one of the audience left.
It's
She
22:30.
looked around. She looked around. When her husband had gone, he had gone even before, I suppose, because he was not that inspired to break their journey or delay their journey. Then she decided, I am going to find out him. I am going to follow him. I have to see him. I have to personally submit my requests for his blessing. And she waited for the husband. She realized whether the husband is there or not, I must follow him. I must find him out. She walked and suddenly she remembered that in order to ask a blessing, in order to seek for a blessing, I must offer him something. I must offer something. Then only I can ask. Then only I am eligible to submit my proposal. Then I have to offer him something. What is there? She looked at her body, nothing available. She remembered every item in her baggage of clothes, nothing is there, and of course nothing is there at home also because she had given away everything. So she had a moment of defeat, and she sat down she kneeled down into the soil and touched her hands on the ground and prayed, what is there for me, with me, which I can offer to this great Rabbi? Suddenly she had a moment of truth. She remembered something, the most valuable of an Israeli woman. The identity of an Israeli woman. That is some kind of a thing tied as tali in Indian woman. Okay? No, sorry. Instead of a tali in the case of Indian woman, it is a kind of a cloth that is worn on the head. Okay? Which is stitched with an instrument called crochet. And that particular piece of cloth worn at the time of wedding symbolizes the identity of an Israeli woman, symbolizes her motherhood, and nobody else shall even touch that thing, that piece of cloth. It has kept it in such a great, what you call it, sanctity, I suppose, and it should go along with her dead body. It should be kept on her dead body at the time of burial. There's a kind of value attached to that, not the cost. And an Israeli woman is not supposed to part with that unless she dies. That is the kind of idea, concept attached to this cloth, which is called in Israeli language katnika, written in English letters K-A-T-N-I-K-A. Immediately she stood up and ran towards her house or hut, opened the door and reached the corner of the house where that old creepy iron trunk was there, locked. Her most important possession was inside that, and she opened it and kept it with all her respect and packed it in, very reverently in another cloth, and even forgetting to close the box, she ran out of the house, and Rabbi was nowhere visible. She could not even identify the direction in which the Rabbi walked away. And my mother followed. My mother decided that I must meet this Rabbi. That is the purpose of my life. That only will lead to meeting the purpose of my existence. So she walked and walked for days and weeks and months, without food, without water, through the pathless paths and the jungles and the deserts and the hills and whatever. Finally, completely dilapidated, completely collapsed. At that moment, she reached the place where the Rabbi was just standing alone, looking at the horizons in front of his abode. She somehow reached there, and just beyond collapsing, she attained a kind of a will to talk, because that much tired, that much destroyed she was by months and months of lonely, turbulent journey. She told him, I was following you since that day at that place. To the question of Rabbi, why, oh my beloved daughter, why you look so rested. I have been following you, Rabbi. Oh, why did you follow me? Then she offered her Katnika to the Rabbi and uttered, kindly accept this as my offering, the greatest offering an Israeli female can ever give in her life, and please bless me that I will have a child. Of course, Rabbi instantly said, offer this Katnika to the nearby temple. O my beloved child of the God, you will have a child. Soon. After 1 year I was born. Rabbi Israel was narrating his mother's story till now. So Rabbi Israel told this woman, after 1 year I was born. Then this woman submitted to the Rabbi, oh beloved Rabbi, esteemed Rabbi, I will offer my Katnika. Will you please bless me? With a smile, Rabbi Israel told the lady, just a short sentence, my mother had no story to go by. That's the end of the parable. That's the end of the affair. That's the end of the film. What all intents, what all plays of intents, what all games of intents, what all realities of intents of existence you see there. That parable, one of the most, possibly the most powerful intent in humanity, I suppose, is the intent of a woman to have a child. This is my dialogue to the entire world. The most powerful intent of humanity, of human species, is that with the female of the species to have a child born in her womb. Something equivalent of this for a man is so-called self-discovery, otherwise called satori or otherwise called enlightenment. Only that is equivalent to a female's highly taken for granted event of delivering a human entity into the planet Earth, which almost the entire world has taken for granted because it's a common phenomenon reported historically everywhere, not only among human species but all other species. So it is something so-called natural. They don't understand the word natural there. Natural meaning it is a nature process, it is the ultimate of nature process happening within the body of a human female. Only nature process can really create. I told you all human creations are nothing but resetting of nature process only. Okay, if you use the word creation, the real creation, ultimate creation is the creation of another human entity, and that happens within the territory of the human species called females in their body. So it's a parable of that intent. Real inspiration for creativity should be at that level. Then it will work. If you are inspired to reach a position in existence, Mandra Rishika, are you asleep? if you discover, if you create an intent to reach top position in the country, or in your institution, or in your work, Vivek, are you there? Vivek? Alright.
I'm not listening.
Okay, alright. Your intent should be that powerful. Powerful and all, don't worry about that. That's why I told you about my own intent. I told you, I talk about all things only what I have done. Similarly, at the age of 37, I decided to do PhD under one of the topmost person in management I have heard of, by name Dr. Pradeep N. Khandwala. Of course, I already had completed a PhD work. I couldn't just submit it into any university. But my principles of ethics did not allow me to do that. So anyway, and when I wanted to do it, exactly at that time he became the director of IIM Ahmedabad. Knowing my background, at least 3 other professors at IIM Ahmedabad, they told me, I can guide you, please come with me. Because guiding a doctoral student is a credit or whatever for the professors in top institutes in the country as well as in university. It is an important determinant of their promotions also. Then I should know. Then I remember especially Dr. T.V. Rao told me, perhaps he would have agreed. And now it is not possible because he is going to be the director, full of administrative, other kind of responsibilities. Alright, sir. Then he also, he told me this in his residence at the IIM campus. Then he told me when I was on the door, so talk to Pradeep and come back. I can take you anytime. Alright, sir, I said. So I waited for, it took almost 6 months for me to develop the intent of meeting him. I was already helping in the editing of IIM journal Vikalpa. So I could stay at IIM as an employee. So whenever someone tells somebody he is going here and there, I will run to that place. IIM is a big jungle of buildings. I will run to that place and just look at him walking. He always wore a simple chappal, so-called bathroom chappal kind of chappals. About 6 feet 3 inches, 4 inches tall, elegant looking person, but very rough looking, very tough looking also, but very elegant. Anyway, to cut the story short, one evening about 5:30 or so, I was sitting in the library and someone said, Pradeep Khandwala is walking through the Louis Kahn Plaza of IIM Ahmedabad. I ran down the steps and reaching the same path, I just walked fast and then I continued to walk behind him, just behind him. Fortunately at that time, entire Louis Kahn Plaza, huge ground was vacant. Though it was only around 5:30, 5:45 I suppose. I continued walking behind him, almost 1 foot or 2 foot, 2 feet away. Naturally then anybody would look back, And he stopped walking and looked back and smiled at me and said, you want to tell me something? I said, yes. Then he just bent his head towards me. I said, I want to do PhD under you, sir. In fact, he was sort of flabbergasted. He had no response. He was sort of taken aback. Then 1 or 2, 3 sentences and he said, come with the proposal tomorrow. Perhaps those of you who have tried for their PhD, they will know. In order to write a proposal, 1 year is given. I know many PhD scholars who could not complete a proposal even in 1 year time. Anyway, I submitted a half-page proposal only next day evening, and he said, you are in. So what I am telling is, I took 6 months to develop that intent. By saying that, I am not saying many other things, or I am not indicating many other things. So, every significant intent in your life should have formed, taking such a gestation period. Okay? An intent also should have a moment of inspiration, and then it should be nurtured inside the womb of your desire, your purpose in life. And one day that inspired intent should be delivered to your consciousness by itself. It will occur to you. You cannot choose a defined moment for that. It will occur to you, no doubt about that. Surprisingly. And then it will work, it has to work. Perhaps I am one of the very few doctoral students in India who did the thesis exactly in 3.5 years' time. Actually, I took only 6 months to do that, but I pretended that I was working. And the very first line of the review letter of the foreign so-called American professor, one of the top professors, because it is a thesis of IIM background, the first sentence is, I consider myself fortunate to have reviewed this thesis, and the letter ends with the request to the Vice Chancellor, registrar, that kindly allow me to keep this thesis. Anyway, so what I am telling is, that's a kind of impeccability, that's the kind of completeness you have to deliver to your own expressions. Otherwise, just don't do it. Whatever you choose to do, you have to give your heart and soul, and your body, your spirit. Then it becomes an intent of the nature process. Then it is not your intent. And that's why I told you it was 5:30 p.m. I don't know whether you have not seen the IIM campus, okay? The main buildings, it is designed by an Italian designer by name Louis Kahn, Louiskahn. It's a plaza, it's a huge space. 5:30 meaning there will be definitely at least 20-30 students or faculty members passing by that way. It is absolutely silent and absent with any human presence. I, he, and that space, location and time. That is why it happened. Otherwise, in fact, many times he told others, I am surprised why I agreed to him. Of course, I have never taken more than 45 minutes in total in the 3.5 years to do this thesis. But of course, I was the senior most, I was almost 38 at that time. That's it. All the others were 24, 25, 26, 27 kind of people. Anyway, that is it. Nothing surprising about that. But still, what I tell is, when you have that power of the intent, you will end up doing things in a complete way. Purnat Purna Mudachade. That is one of the classic dictum of the central point of all the Upanishads. Actually, let me tell you. From completeness arises completeness. That is the fourth line. There are 3 lines before that. Purnamadam, Purnamidam. That means Purnam meaning complete. Purna, completeness is there. Completeness is here. Completeness everywhere in the nature process. As you all the time tell among us, there is not a single blade of grass which does not do its things completely, which does not reach its completeness. Every rose is a rose is a rose, and every blade of grass is a grass is a grass, in all its completeness. Purnasya Purnamadaya. I don't remember exactly the verse, I don't buy heart things. Anyway, that is one of the lines. I think, you know that, Parvati? Okay, Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnameva Vasishyate. These are the 4 lines, I don't know the sequence.
Purname.
Anyway, after all these things, completeness, that's all in between so-called literature. The central point is Purnat Purnamudachyate. From completeness arises completeness. Naturally. Unless you know the complete details of the beauty of cooking, you cannot make a wonderful tea. It is applicable even in making a cup of tea. That is Ranayu. Tea ceremony. See the power of the intent of my mother. Hearing my mother's story, oh my beloved lady, you are also telling me, I will also offer my Katniga, will you please bless me? Your intent is imitated, your intent is duplicated, your ritual is duplicated. Offering Katniga, offering to the temples. In Kerala also I have heard, in Tamil Nadu also, there are all kinds of offering to the temples for purpose fulfillment. In fact, there is a temple well known in Kerala state, particularly dedicated to having child. So childless wives should go there and do some ritualistic things and so on and so forth. There are more than 2 temples, I suppose, exclusively for that. Then there are the similar pujas and homams and all that for having a child in almost all temples, and there are other things also. So, whatever it be. So now you are trying to follow the story. My mother had no story to go by. It was her own creation. It was an evidence of the power of her intent that I will, that led her to walking such dangerous distances for such a long time till she was about to fall unconscious. And for the other Rabbi, people would think that it is the power of the other Rabbi. Of course, other Rabbi must be definitely mystically superior. But it would be very easy for that Rabbi to identify that this lady is powered by such a divine intent herself. I need only pulling the trigger by saying that, of course, I will be blessed to have a child soon. Whereas you, my dear lady, you are trying to follow the story. It is not an originated intent inside you. So, the power of intent. We saw the power of intent at its most supreme level in analyzing some of the actions in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The intent by which things can materialize and the intent by which things can disappear. The intent by which you yourself will be invisible to the others. Your intent focused upon a central point of your own body so that the entire secrets of your body will be simply revealed to you. At the least. Then of course Patanjali talks about the intent at much different levels of even achieving interplanetary travel. Way back in whatever BC, when Patanjali existed, Sanskrit translated into English is nothing but interplanetary travel for the human body by the power of intent. Okay. So, that's all. So remember this parable of the Rabbi Israel. See the reality of existence amply contained inside every moment of that parable. See identify the properties of the mind setting where higher order intents can ever germinate. Like even normal seeds cannot germinate and grow properly in improper soils and improper conditions. How can great intents be germinating in improper mind settings and characterless individuals? We are talking about mystic intents. We are not talking about the intents of the political, religious, business criminals who apparently owns the entire humanity in parts and wholes. Okay, there is a situation of humanity now. So-called voters, just the victims of the powerful forces of the politicians and the businessmen and the religious leaders. Humanity is nothing but the playground of these three people. Just imagine. We are all just, that's okay. We don't care. But nevertheless, though we are victims every minute, though our life is absolutely restricted, because of basically other people only. People get the government and the rulers and the leaders they deserve. But we also happen to be in between them. That's all. So the intent to become a genius in self, the intent to become a great lawyer, the intent to become a great representative of the very country, the intent to become a master, a mentor, a guide, a seer, a philosopher. I am the evidence. It's all about intents. If you look at the work I have done, it is actually marvelous. Not the published works, this is my homework. Just like that I worked, thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of my writing.
It's 23 hours.
Of no use. Just like that. And I wrote all those papers when I was so-called working in top places in the country. So do that. You will automatically do that when you get the power of that intent. Because all the doings are processes. It requires a mind setting. It requires a perspective. So without that mind setting and perspective, the intent cannot make transformation inside you. The intent for self-transformation. Your intent should be as powerful as the intent of a genuine female to have a child. When you have that power of intent to discover the you in you, then that also will work. Even you is a simple statement that by which you become conscious about all that you are conscious about. Because that intent for self-discovery is a tricky intent. It is not that clear as the intent of a female to have a child. Because in that case the outcome of intent is clear, to have a child. But vis-a-vis so-called Satori, or that so-called operating field inside the entity by which all these perceptions are happening 360 degree everywhere around. So what is that output? There is no clarity. It's a kind of a blind man's throw. But there is a clarity, but there is a vague awareness. But I don't know. Even that vagueness should be a little bit clear. What happens with the conventional kind of so-called meditators and incubators and those who do decades and decades of sitting, whatever, doing all kinds of yogas in the Himalayas and Badrinath and Uttarakashi and all those places, I have seen them thousands and thousands. The so-called Tibetan monks who do dangerous things, to see that which is leaving the body at the time of death, and reading all kinds of parables and reports. I realize that there is a kind of a confusion. There's a going by the story. They are all trying to go by the story of Buddha or Krishna or other enlightened beings or whatever is told by their gurus by word of mouth or written in the books. My mother had no story to go by. Similarly, we just cannot have anybody else's story to go by in order to touch the top of the Everest of our internal reality by which we are all doing whatever we are doing, including right now. Right now, at this moment, what is that which is facilitating your sitting there and doing whatever you are doing, that internal doing? Right now, what is that which is maintaining your posture of sitting there like that? What is that which is helping you to listen to what I say? What is that in which you, inside you which is monitoring and whatever you are doing right now every millisecond? What is that in you which is assuming a space and location, and from there, existing there, you are receiving my information or these dialogues or these sounds? Okay? Like you are standing against a wall. In that wall, all these impressions are being written or being projected. What is that wall? What is that empty scale upon which all these things are continuously impressed, including the next second of your internal feeling? So there is a stationed entity, a stationed defined field inside you, which gives you that identity of the you inside you and doing whatever you are doing right now. That is the thing you have to identify. Or your intent is to be directed, the gun The pointers of the gun should be directed in that location, and then it should be shot. Or then the machine gun should be shot. You cannot get it by a single shot. Anyway, every time you attempt it, that's enough. I told you, the electronic fields, the networks in the brain will do a lot of compensatory lateral effects if you just do it. Like every time you are on the cycle, there is a little advancement in balance. The complete balance may take 1 week. But every moment you put your leg on the pedal and push a little bit, there is that much of development happening in the central nervous system, no doubt about that. Whatever be that cycle. So do it. And then you become a representative of the intent of your entity. Because your entity has been formed inside the cavity of another female with the intent of something else, mysterious, powerful force. Do not compare it with the conscious intent of the human being. It is like the intent device when the rains and the mists are formed. It is like the intent by which a seed is just getting matured so that its hard outer form is broken and a tender thing comes out, If you look at the covering of certain seeds, you will be surprised. How can such a ridiculously tender tip of that whatever piece of cell can break it, Vivek? Because that is the intent of the natural process. And if we get to that intent, just imagine what a wonder it will be. You don't have to get that, of course. If you get 9% of that, and you have to, because so long as we are in a social milieu, we just cannot stay detached from that, Of course, that's the choice. Then I have to go to some mountains, and already I am in the mountain, some house and all that. But I am not at all a model. No. I am never the model. Every one of you is the model for you. You have to stay in your career. You have to become wonderful in your field. And so if some human beings can be known, why don't you also be well known, if you want to? Like Vivek. Vivek has to be well known, then only he will succeed in his profession. Again, Parvati should be very, very well known among the corporate circles. She is already in a top position in the country, right? Parvati, yes or no? Yes, alright. I don't know what is her next position, maybe somewhere else out of the country, whatever it is. So wherever, or Naveen, or Meera, or Arjun, or Vinay. Of course, Vinay is not at all fascinated about fame and public acceptance. That's a different story. Because he doesn't need it. Arjun also is not at all bothered about that. Naveen also may not have, because he is in the most powerfully protected service in India. Okay. It is more critical for Vivek. Because Vivek has joined the program with a statement that I want to become a great lawyer. And I appreciate that. Because it is not easy to have that kind of an inspiration. Though it may be there, I don't know. I don't know whether somebody is even capable of having such a dream. Because it is so competitive, that is the competitive and all is a relative statement, Majority of them are fools only, Vivek, don't bother. Don't bother. You will be competing with maybe 10 people in the country, that's all. And students or youngsters get confused. For example, about the central service exam. 7 lakh people try that. 5 lakh people try that job. Out of this 5 lakh, 4.5 lakh, they are fools. So you are competing with 50,000 people. But they are good. That's the problem. If you want to become in the top rank list. So numbers do not matter at all. Anyway, beyond that you should be drawn by that intent. What is the intent of your existence? And the quality of that intent should be manifested in every moment of the doing. In fact, that is the general rule of all creativity also. That's why creativity is often compared to deep romantic love. In fact, it was done, that comparison is done by almost all creativity researchers. I have seen very so-called standardized creativity questionnaire in which one of the items is, have you ever fallen in love with somebody? Because a creative, sensitive mind is very likely to be like that. Very likely to be fall in love with. Not necessarily declared love or marriage or anything, but that will happen because it is sensitivity to the beauty and wonder and magic. So, you know what happens in a romantic love affair. What all this boy or girl, they are ready to do, What all, it's a mystery. Because it is happening, people just do not notice it. She, person on her side, she is able to defy the so-called father and mother. Not because she is against them, she loves them. And she doesn't, just imagine her internal fight. And she has to withstand the turbulence of her confusion when they do not like it. And yet she is ready. And again, the boy. There is a famous Hindi film, Dilwala Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. It is told that that film ran in some of the theatres for 1000 days. Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol. Right? Yeah. And most of the films, romantic films, nevertheless. So look at the power of that boy or that girl. There, that intent, like the intent of the female to get a child, the intent to marry that person, intent to be with that person. It empowers them to defy all the norms, to go against the wishes of all the beloved, respected, loved people. If that kind of an intent is accessible, can be borrowed for fulfilling our romantic affair with our purpose of existence, what it would be? Like my mother. No? As soon as she realized that this Rabbi is really divine and if he blesses her have a child, she forgot everything. Just imagine that time period, taking it as real. A woman walking alone through the dangerous jungles and deserts for days and weeks and months together without food and water. In search of a person who nobody can give any clear information. But these rabbis, unlike the Indian mystics, they would not be wearing their costume all the time. They are like our Indian commandos all the time, undercover agents like. They will be living normally. Nobody will know sometimes who is a rabbi in his surroundings. So, reflect upon all these things. That's what I wanted to do. Reflect. Take new topics. Not to know. With a selfish intent that you are working on, you are using the central nervous system of the greatest creature on planet Earth. That's why I told you, do not feel identity with your body, your social definition. That's all simple, silly realities. That's all legal formalities, okay? Beyond the boundaries of this cloth and your knowing, your general knowledge about you, which you keep like the official record in a government office, beyond all these things, that flesh, blood, central nervous system driven creature is the most powerful creature in the whole known world. Your consciousness has been given and the time and the duration and the opportunity to experiment with the powers of the creature, my dear friends. What are we doing? Just imagine. Look at the other rabbi, forget about the others. The rabbi says, okay, offer the cat to the nearby temple and you will have a child. Can you bless somebody? Of course, all of you do that. A lot of people do that. Best of luck, etc. When they go for competitive examinations, or when, for example, when another lady comes and talks about her problems, you may say, okay, you will have a child, don't worry. What is the intent of that statement? Can that statement be like a sword will cut the Gordian knot of the puzzle of that lady? So then you will know. For example, if you imagine, if you are able to clearly and solidly visualize a situation where you bless, forget about the word bless, you make a statement to somebody and it happens. It cannot happen by the language of the statement. No, 100% no. The other rabbi said, okay, offer the cat to the nearby temple and you will have a child next year, okay? That you will have a child next year, it is not by that language it worked. I told you, language is nothing but names of things and entities and phenomena. They are not real. They convey certain meanings, that's all. And when you are able to apply that language to you, so so that you become a wonderful person, so that you become a genius of what you wanted to do with your life. So can you have an intent to yourself?
Locations also have that power.
You're talking about who intent to you are.
Some intents arising at a particular location can actually work.
Don't say only location. No. Location is only one of the variables. Location is important. That's why you create a location. It's a good point. Because every space of this planet Earth is a location. Every space has its coordinates, okay? We just take it for granted. This is our courtyard, that is front road, this is side road, this is mud, this is that, this is that. But every inch of this planet Earth is planet Earth. And the so-called useless majority never realizes that. When we say this, they will say, that is true. It is not about saying that is true, it is about feeling the truth of it. In your complete consciousness, Purnat Purnamudachyate, in all its completeness you should feel the truth of every soil that you come across, if required.
So is it the location or is it the completeness of the intent that worked?
You are asking for one thing, why that question is not acceptable. So you are saying one of these things, nothing else. All lot of variables. Why you are asking this question? You are asking this question about the case details in the parable?
I'm asking generally.
No. There is no generally, there are only specifically in this.
I'm asking out of one of my experience.
In which case you will know it is not only the location. Okay, location culminated, that's all, but it is not because of the location. As we said, you cannot prepare tea inside the toilet room, normally. Or you would not solemnize a marriage standing in the middle of a highway. Yeah, location definitely can give rise to intents. That's why when a man and woman is alone inside a room, then they develop some other intent, If there is one more person, two more people, then there is no intent. So you go to China, you go to Kashmir, you go to other countries to experience. Of course, it is the power of that location. That's why people went to the caves. That's why Patanjali went to the forest. That's why the Buddhist monks were all living inside the caves or living in the mountains, of course. Is that what you mean? That's the way we discussed much before. In the very first day of process, the time, space, location, they are all important, no doubt. They are all equally important. That is the three primary things. Okay? You cannot do this right now, standing in the front of your house. Okay? For example, location is there. Alright.
So can we say intent means language, purpose, action is intent? First we formulate what we have to do. Once we do it, then
that also is possible. That's what normal existential planning done by everyone be like. Okay, there's a pattern, there's a schedule of things to be done, etc. That also is an intent, no doubt. Nothing is possible without an intent. So, that's all okay, that's all agreed, that's all right, they are all good. But we are talking about beyond that intent. All of you have all done wonderful things in your life. We are talking about that plus the next level of intents. By your intent you have taken your LLM, you are already registered as a lawyer and you are working as a lawyer. Now, that is by an intent only, definitely. Many intents were working there. But intent to become a great lawyer is at a different orbit. Or the intent to become a genius himself, or intent to get satori, intent to become what Abraham Maslow calls the fully functioning rose of the human being. That's at a different level. That's what we said. That requires a certain perspective, a certain mind setting, a certain frame of reference. All that you talk about process perspective is there. All the implications of the term perspective and process are applicable in that level of intense Vivek. And it is possible. When we talk about it, it's all big at the same time, it's all possible. And it all requires a certain kind of a so-called hard work, no doubt. And for the romantic guy, he has no problem. An ordinary, uneducated guy can do wonders, Vivek. Then what about us? So, of course, that is driven by the most powerful sexual instinct. Okay, that's true. At the root. Sexual instinct at the root. Sexual instinct, I am talking in a Sigmund Freudian sense. Not to have sexual intercourse or anything, but the sexual difference is the root cause, root romantic design there. Okay. So that power, that gives him the fire. But we are not able to have that kind of a fire if you want to become a, what do you call it? Mandra Rishya? Mandra? Mandra? Become a great lawyer or a great CEO or a great fully functioning human being, or to become a mystic. When you say something, it has to happen. Why not? Why don't you try for that, Naveen? Yeah, why not? Simply, very gently, do not attach, do not get involved in that. You know that intentless intent is the requirement there. A selfish, egoistic, image building thing will not work. Because that is not nature process, Naveen. Your intent has to become as neutral, as free and as liberated as that of nature process. But it can be, like Vivek said, it can be constricted Vivek. How a revolver is made, how a gun is made. Okay, the iron ores are taken from the nature process. They are melted by the process of heat in nature process. They are molded into shape by the gravitational force. Okay, or by which the molten iron flows through the mold. Okay.
It's 23:30.
And that it is shaped by the power of the file rubbing against it. Okay. And bullets are also shaped like that. Then explosive material again taken from the nature process. And it is placed in such a way. And if it is hit powerfully, it will explode. And if something in front of it, it will be shot. Okay. So that is the planning you mentioned, Vivek. You can create the setting. Okay. Buy all the relevant books, refer to all the internet, study all the so-called critical judgments and whatever available data, how the process of argument worked in certain cases, how they used and all that, but don't be totally dependent on that. The fact is very simple. You be a master of the affair you are dealing with, that's all, finished. Okay? What to call Kapil Sibal or what Ramjit Banani or what somebody big did is not at all important. They were not following anybody. Jesus did not follow anybody. Buddha did not follow anybody. Krishna did not follow anybody. Or none none of the so-called original geniuses, either it is the art of dance or music or painting or poetry or film or anything, they were not following other people. They might have learned from other people what they used perhaps. In case of film making or theatre or music direction and all that thing. Vinay is driving. Where is he driving at this point of time, 11:20?
Hello.
Yeah. Where are you driving to? It is muted. We can't hear you. The hello could be heard. Okay, leave it. Yeah, audible now.
There's a there was the convocation function at the hospital,
Okay.
which got over at 9:30. So I started my call on the mobile, and now I'm driving home.
Okay. All right.
So I was sitting in the college foyer, and then they shut down the foyer, so I had to leave.
That's okay. So, you could hear the entire life of Israel, right?
Yes, I was part of it, but about 10 minutes back they shut the foyer down, so I had to leave. So I thought I'd drive home and continue to listen while driving.
Yeah, anyway it is 11:30, we are about to stop.
Yeah, so I just got into the car 10 minutes back.
And remember, I always say, do not underestimate the guy in romantic love. He is also going to college, he is getting first class, first rank also, okay? And he is all the time, even when he is studying, the photograph of the girl is in front. Have you seen boys like that, Vivek? Yeah. If you have stayed in the hostel, I have seen. In fact, when I was doing my BA, I drew the picture of the girl I loved on the wall of my room. University College, Holland was room number 32. I loved meaning that adolescent romance, nevertheless the romance of a poet. I was a poet at that time, so poets are very sensitive. And I used to write short stories also at that time. And when I wrote short stories in one competition, my story was taken second out of some 4,000 stories. At that time Kerala was full of writers. About 450 magazines were there in Kerala state. That I wrote just like that as a competition. It was a competition, short story competition. Just like that. No, when I saw that there is poetry, I started writing poetry. Then I realized that there is something called short story. Then I started writing short stories, and my story came in the topmost magazine in Kerala state at that time, named Anveshanam. Not even Madhurabhumi. And then there was one act plays. Then I wrote one act plays, then I wrote full scale plays. Then there is something called film. I also fooled around with film making. Then all kinds of things. I am talking about a romance with one's own self, okay? What all things I can do. Not I, this can do. Whatever things that your body can do. All you are doing has to be from zero to the output is executed by that central nervous system process, the flesh, blood, body structure sitting there right now. But everything is camouflaged by a social identity, by an awareness of the general self. Something like that only I want to say. It is all overshadowed by your usual self-awareness or usual self-image. Don't have any self-image. That is the best way. Just be cool. Be cool even outside, even in your office. Then you are open. And the nature process is the model. Be cool like a cat, be cool like a bird. But interact with everything the way it requires. And be genuine, be grateful, be truthful to you. And be relating with the nature process. That conscious self, educated self may not find any sustainable meaning in that. Just like that, keeping on looking at the skies, keeping on looking at the birds and the trees and the mountains and the rivers and the rains and all that is not that rewarding beyond 1 minute or 3 minutes. But just keep on witnessing it. Then you are doing that part of the creature. Because the creature, human creature, cannot by itself talk. Your heart cannot talk to you back. The lungs cannot talk to you back. The central nervous system will not talk to you. Like a tree cannot talk to you. So, when you are looking at the mountains, okay, Vivek is not looking. Your creature is looking with its eyes. The eyes belong to the creature. Not to Vivek Nair or Parvati or Arjun or Meera or Naveen. Okay? It's a simplest silly truth, but it has a lot of truth about it. So when you look, so allow the creature to feel the universe. Yes, Vinay.
Hello.
Yes, Vinay.
No, when I was speaking that time, I wasn't sure if I was audible.
Very clearly audible.
Oh, okay. Today we had a convocation function at the college.
Yeah.
So I had to attend it, but that got over at 9:30, so I joined the call from the college building.
Yeah. Just same thing you said there, driving the car, it was very clear. When in the beginning there was some audio, was not switched on, that's all.
Okay, because my battery was also almost going to die, so I plugged it into the car and then I was listening over the speakers. So I didn't know whether I was audible. Then the line got cut. So then I don't know if the program had ended or what. So.
Your intent of communicating that with us was fulfilled then itself, no problem.
Oh, okay. So, otherwise, I also wanted to confirm I will be reaching there on Thursday morning.
Okay.
On that same train.
12th, right?
Yes, 12th.
So the same time when I picked up last time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But Ameya has an exam on that day, so I was just a little concerned.
No problem, I will come.
Okay. So, my session is in that Kovai Medical Center Hospital for Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
The same?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I have the whole of Thursday and Thursday night free, so I thought I'll come and stay one day with you.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all. I just wanted to.
The session is yet to terminate within another 5 minutes.
Oh, it's not? Oh, I'm so sorry. I tried to rejoin, but it.
No
said,
problem, no problem.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I thought
okay.
it was over.
That
I'm
is
sorry.
okay, bye. All right. You're all capable of that romantic love and hard work. Just the only slight block is that the outcomes of our choices are little complexly vague or complexly set. Like Meera wants to be a guide, mentor and trainer. Of a highest order, and she has made considerable progress in the last 1 year. Now, after participating in this, whether she knows it or not, the brain process will evolve to a much higher level. So, she will have responses and expressions and actions much beyond what she normally does. So Meera, I call her Meera, is a beautiful example of genius choice, taking genius choice in life. She is a BCom graduate, only mentioned for social definition's sake. Just a degree, that's all. I don't think she wanted to become an accountant or anything like that. Then she was exposed to the most dangerous kind of life experiences at a very young age of 18. Though she was, even now she is beautiful, then you can imagine how she was when she was just 18. Even then she was tortured by a man, her husband. Torture meaning how the most dangerous level. Killing her was better than that. That level of torture. And she was abandoned with 2 children. And she decided to make a living by going to Gulf. She worked as a receptionist and changed at least 4 or 5 jobs, I suppose, and made sufficient money to come back to her hometown. And she is not qualified to get any government job or anything like that. But she has made the most unexpected choice of becoming a trainer. She is quite successful. She just started roughly a year back only. But when you are talking about romantic love and making choices in life, she is an extraordinarily unique individual. Otherwise, I would not be inviting her to sit there.
Thank you, Sundarji. Thank you so much.
I don't want to definitely, I will never tell the details of what she has undergone. In one sentence, I made it indirect that killing her was better than that. So that means a lot. So look at her will, look at her intent to succeed, to do life. She is, with that money, she is educating her children. Her son has completed his hotel management, just started doing some little thing, and her daughter is doing her first year degree, first degree also. So she is a live example among us. I think she is the only one example of such dangerous life and mysterious choices in life. Totally different choice. So she is, with that educational background, she is surviving in Kerala state among 1,000 other trainers, the most educated people in the country, where she is succeeding. She has an average 75 people in her talks, in her sessions. Just a year and more, that's all. So, within about 5-6 years, the process if continues, what will be the outcomes? So, the power of the Rabbi, the intent of the Rabbi, the intent of Meera, vis-a-vis, I would like to talk about the intent of Vivek to become the great lawyer of this country. I think Mumbai city alone may have about a lakh of lawyers, at least close to 50,000, Mumbai city. When I was in Mumbai, once I just happened to walk through the front of the High Court of Mumbai. My God, like a procession, lawyers are standing outside the compound wall, just on the road.
Mostly all metropolitan cities
Yeah.
are having huge number of lawyers.
They are all asking everybody. They are walking through the High Court, they think that they are all coming to the court. Everybody they are asking, is there anything, sir? Is there anything, sir? Every 3 feet has a typist sitting there. So what I am telling in this land, so if there can be one, why not that be Vivek? There is a lot of duration of process time available. So wish you that romantic partnership with whatever you do in your life. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night Vivek, good night Parvati, good night Arjun, good night Meera, good night Naveen.
And see you.